Hello and welcome to Safety Tavern's video on heat injury. First, we need to start with what is heat. This is the sun, and 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 it causes heat. The sun is hot. Heat is not just created by the sun, it's also created by machinery or any other kind of moving part. Could potentially create heat. If you have enough moving parts or a moving part moving fast enough, you also create heat. Now, there's a such thing called humidity, and let's take a look at that. Merriam-Webster defines humidity as a moderate degree of wetness, especially of the atmosphere. So humidity is water in the air. This is the National Weather Service's heat index, and if you look over here, you'll see the temperatures. 80, 82, 84, all the way to 90, up to 100 degrees, which that's pretty common for us to see that in the summer months. And then look over here, you have the humidity. And especially in Texas, we have to pay close attention to this chart. Just because it's 88 degrees, well, let's look at that humidity. 88 degrees with an 80% humidity? Oh yeah, boy, now you're looking at 106 degrees. And if you look down here, that is a danger area. So when we're using this chart, anytime you're in caution, that means be careful, drink water, make sure you're paying attention. Extreme caution, supervisors, you need to be doing something. Supervisors, you need to be doing additional measures. The things that are laid out in this video are normal measures. Additional measures are things like extra shade area, mandatory breaks, shift as much of your work between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. as you possibly can. Either work before the sun comes up or work after the sun goes down. Additional measures. And especially once you start getting into the red areas, you need to consider, do we even need to do this work at all? If we do need to do this work, you definitely need to start implementing some serious measures. Let's look at what 100-degree heat can do. Look at this ice cream cone. Yep, it's melting it. And what about eggs? You ever heard that old saying, hot enough to melt an egg on the sidewalk? Let's take a look at that. One of the body's natural responses to heat is sweating. That is its natural defense, is to release that water and try to cool the outside temperature down. This is what sweating looks like. This is what sweating looks like. Now, once your body goes from sweating and then it stops sweating, you'll see several different symptoms coming up. If you ignore your body's symptoms, you could end up passing out. And if you pass out from a heat injury, you could very easily die. This is what death looks like if you've never met them. But wait a minute, as an employer, do I even have to worry about heat? Couldn't that be considered a personal injury? That's not my problem. All right, let's take a look. General Duty Clause Section 5A, each employer, 1, shall furnish to each of his employees employment and a place of employment which are free from recognized hazards that are causing or are likely to cause death or serious physical harm to his employees. B, each employee shall comply with the occupational safety and health standards and all rules, regulations, and orders issued pursuant to this act, which are applicable to his own actions and conduct. Does it apply to you? Well, General Duty Clause says serious physical harm or death. This is taken directly from OSHA's website, Drinking Water, Restroom Use, and Sanitation. Are employers required to provide drinking water? This was the question that's asked in the Q&A. OSHA standards require an employer to provide potable water in the workplace and permit employees to drink it. What have y'all been doing that OSHA had to say and permit employees to drink it? Potable water includes tap water that is safe for drinking. Employers cannot require employees to pay for water that is provided. An employer does not have to provide bottled water if potable water is available. You have to provide your employees with water. You have to, period. Take a look here and let's look at the heat fatalities map. These are the heat fatalities. Now granted, this was only a small snapshot throughout the course of 3 or 4 years, but it happens everywhere. Look all the way up there into Massachusetts, all the way down to Texas, over to California, up into Washington. Heat injuries do not just occur in the summer months. That's definitely whenever the majority happen, but you need to be cautious at all times about heat. If it starts getting warm for whatever reason, whether it's because of the actual temperature outside or it's because just in the area that you're at, the zone that you're at, the room that you're in, you need to be paying attention to what you're doing. But that doesn't apply to my job. I have a safe job. Let's take a look at some of the jobs that these dead workers were doing. Moving a trailer, drywall finishing, cleaning up, collecting garbage, pulling weeds, installing a fiber optic line, paving, trimming bushes, bricklaying, catering an all-day outdoor event, bulldozer pickup truck, cleaning crew, residential framing, digging trenches and installing conduits, steel connection, truck driver. A newly rehired employee was engaged in work involving lifting, carrying, and installing PVC pipe. Temporary worker who was collecting garbage. Asbestos remediation. General labor. Services on an air conditioning unit. This affects every single person in construction, and this class is absolutely geared towards 1926 construction. Whether you're picking up trash, or you're fixing the air conditioners, or you're installing pipes, or you're doing paving, or you're pouring concrete, you're outside. And when you're outside, the heat is going to hit you even worse. Until we get the air conditioning on in the building and you're able to work in the building, you're at a heightened risk for heat injuries. If you're the employer, your employees are at a heightened risk for heat injury because they're in the sun all day long. Take care of our people, please. Take care of them. Here's the OSHA fact sheet for working outdoors in warm climates. You can pull this off of OSHA's website. Just type in OSHA fact sheet working outdoors in warm climates, and this should come up. Ultraviolet light, which is sunlight. Here's some of the things that you can do to reduce the impact of the sunlight. Cover up, sunscreen, wear a hat, absorbent sunglasses, and limit the exposure, especially between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. This is page 2, but it more talks about animals and plants that are going to kick out during the summertime. The first injury of heat is considered to be heat cramps. Earliest sign of heat illness, painful muscle spasms, typically occurs on the abdomen, back, and arms. Heavy sweating. Hydration is the best combatant for any heat illness, so make sure you drink lots of water. Also, immediately stop the activity that you're doing, rest in a cooler area, intake of fluids, gentle stretching of the muscles. I do not recommend you go to sleep like this young lady has done apparently, but go chill out, take you a break if you start getting these cramps. If you're not sure what's going on, it can also show itself as a muscle spasm, so take care of yourself. If you ignore these heat cramps, you could easily move into something called heat exhaustion. Symptoms are faint or dizzy, headache, profuse sweating, irritability, weak, rapid pulse, shallow breathing, pale, cool, clammy skin, nausea or vomiting, muscle cramps. The treatment for this is have the victim lie down in a cool shaded area or air conditioned area. It's better for an air conditioned area, and not just for 5 minutes, like they need to take a good break. Drink water if the victim is conscious. Use caution when the victim stands up, and apply cold compresses. You need to cool their body down as quickly as humanly possible. And I don't mean throw them into an ice bath, but I mean let's start cooling them off. If they have tight clothing on, let's start getting that loosened up once you get them inside of an air conditioned area. If they are even close to losing consciousness, you need to call 911. Do you understand? Don't play around with this. This is not the call that you want to spend the rest of your life as a responder or just as the dude's buddy. This is not the call that you want to spend the rest of your life hating yourself because you hesitated and you trusted that person that they were okay when they were like, I'm okay. Based off of what you see, they aren't able to make their own real decisions. Take care of our people. You see someone go down, you see someone starting to stutter, you see someone stop sweating. These are all symptoms, and you need to step up and say, hey man, are you okay? Test the water, see how they're doing. Make sure they're okay. But let's say we ignore that. Let's say we move into now heat stroke. Symptoms, absence of sweating. This person has completely stopped sweating now. Pulsating headache, hot, red, dry skin, high body temperature above 103, nausea, vomiting, strong rapid pulse, confusion, convulsions, may lose consciousness. The treatment is immediately dial 911. That is the first thing you go up, you start talking to them a little bit, and then you pick up your phone and you call 911. Okay? Once you get 911 on the phone, if there's other people around, great. Point to them, just like any first responder will tell you. Point to them, tell them to come here and call 911 right now, and then you start talking to the employee. You understand? 911 needs to be, get the paramedics moving. They are going to be able to do more than you can. Get 911 moving as quickly as humanly possible. And then start trying to help the employee. And again, we need to go into not ice bath. Do not throw a bucket of ice on this dude. But certainly dip some rags into the water and get that cool water and start applying that all over him, trying to lower that body temperature down. Not as quickly as possible, but we need to start moving like this person's life depends on it, because it does. Take action to cool the victim by any means. Place victim in a cool area, wrap in wet towel, sponge victim with cool water. Cool water, not an ice bath, not a freezing cold ice bath. You can literally put this person into shock if they're bad enough. So cool, we want cool. But if only there was something that could counter the dehydration. No, not that. No, not that. No, not that either. This is hard. If only we had something that, I don't know, fell out of the sky. Wouldn't that be awesome if we had something that would just fall out of the sky that could replace the sweat, the liquids lost in your body? I don't know, something, anything. Yeah, water. It's pretty simple. It literally falls out of the sky, right there for you. Drink it. Drink water. You're sweating, drink water. For those who think they're going to drink water and then try to drink these little 5-hour energy drinks, let's take a look at 5-hour energy drinks. Yeah, you see a whole bunch of words that doesn't mean a whole lot to anybody. Well, we have a problem when you get down to B12. Look at this. Percentage of daily value, 8,333% of your daily value of B12. Do y'all even know the side effects of excessive B12? Let's take a look at that. Mild diarrhea, itching, skin rash, headache, dizziness, nausea, vomiting, pulmonary edema, congestive heart failure early in treatment, vein thrombosis, sensation of swelling, and some big word, rare slow growing blood cancer. Blood cancer. And this is what you want to drink? Stop. Get away from this. Get away from all of these accelerants for your body. You need water. And if you're wondering why, especially as a young man, I just need me a 5-hour energy drink, or I just love drinking me a Monster. If you wonder why it affects your body so much and you have so little energy, how much water do you drink? Because it's probably because your body is literally starving for water. That's why you don't have energy. Try drinking, I don't know, anything between a half gallon and a gallon of water, especially if you're working in the heat, every single day. Switch off from all of these caffeinated products and soda products and try just drinking water. And I'd be willing to bet that energy that you've just lost and you just have no energy, I'd be willing to bet that energy starts returning because you're actually giving your body what it craves. What a thought. Again, look at your pee chart. If your pee is down here, you need to do something about this. Whereas if your pee is up here, you're doing pretty good. Stay on it. I've worked in Yuma, Arizona in the summertime. I worked in Afghanistan in the summertime. Those are some pretty hot deserts. And I've never had a heat injury. You want to know why? Because every morning I have at least half a banana and pickle juice. And I drink tons of water. The other thing I do is cover up. Why do you think people that live in the desert look like this? This isn't just some crazy way that they decided to look. They figured out a long time ago, if they cover up their body, they don't burn. Cover up. But the most important thing is drink water, people. Drink water. Let's go to a worst case scenario. Let's say, as an employer, you have a heat-related fatality. First of all, I'm sorry to hear it. And I think we can all agree that the most impacted person is that person's families. But as an employer, let's see what you're going to go through. So first we have the investigation, and immediately the cops come, shut everything down, and OSHA shows up, and they start doing their investigation. And everyone from project management all the way down to foremen and even co-employees, co-workers. They all raise their hands and they all go, I don't know how this happened. Everyone looks around in shock. It's so surprising. And the OSHA investigation starts. And the first thing they're going to ask is, okay, it's a heat-related injury, we believe. Where's your water supply? I hope it looks like this or this. I hope it doesn't look like that. If you walk out carrying this one little case of water and you have 20 employees, that OSHA person's going to go, that's your water? And how many employees do you have? And the math is going to add up to them, and they're going to go, what? You have one case of water for 20 employees working in August in Texas? Okay. Or are you going to bring out your bucket? Your one bucket of water that you let all the employees drink out of? Or are you going to point to the gas station across the store? Well, they buy their own. They bring their own. I hope you don't point to the spigot on the wall, because there better be a water cooler. And then we start looking at some other regulations. Yes, as a supervisor, as the supervisor whose employee just died, you are going to definitely feel like everybody is looking at you, because they are. They're trying to figure out why this employee died. I hope you don't point them at a water cooler sitting in your office, because the next thing they're going to do is they're going to start questioning the employees. And if the employees turn around and say, well, yeah, he has a case of water in there, but he doesn't let any of us drink it. Yeah, he has a water cooler in there, but he doesn't let any of us go in there to fill up our stuff. And they're going to start getting sworn statements. And then they're going to ask you for your standard operating procedures and your company safety manuals. They're going to ask you for your documented evidence of how you deal with heat injury. And then they're going to ask you for your classes. Did you teach anybody about heat injury? Okay, show me what you teach. They're going to be asking for things like a syllabus, a training syllabus. If you have videos, they're going to want to see those videos. They're going to want to see every bit of how you train your people on how to deal with heat injuries, how to prevent heat injuries. They're going to want to see training sign-in sheets. They're going to want to see that employee that they have signed in. They're also going to want to see that it was recent. Training from 5 years ago, do you really think, what'd you have February 4th, 5 years ago for dinner? No? You don't remember that? What you put into your body is pretty important, don't you think? Yeah, none of us remember anything we learned 5 years ago unless it was severely important. So they're not going to want to see training logs from when this employee was first hired. They're going to want to see training logs at least within the past 12 months. I hope you have them. In fact, as they ask these questions, I hope you're able to provide every bit of this to that OSHA inspector as a supervisor to say, look, I told my employees, the water is here. Go get it anytime you want. All you got to do is go get water. I talked to them. I trained them on heat prevention. I gave them water as much as I could. I did everything I could. I hope that you are this forward with OSHA, because that's what they're going to want to see. I hope you don't turn around and go, well, because of my budget and because of the restraints of the project and because of how much money I had available to me, I wasn't able to do these things. Because what you're doing is digging a grave. When you employ people, you have a responsibility to your employees to take care of them. Yes, even some employees, and trust me, I've been in construction 20 years. Some employees, you have to take care of them, almost babying them. That's your job. Provide a workplace free from recognized hazards that are going to cause serious harm or death. Heat injury causes death. How do you prevent it? And you have to make sure that that's going to be prevented. But here's the thing. OSHA isn't even what you should really be scared of. Again, OSHA's that low bar. The worst you're going to get is a handful of $15,000, $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 fines. You end up with, $500,000 worth of fines? And you could probably argue half of those down. That's not even what you should really be scared of. What you should really be scared of, $59 million court case. $95 million court case. $75 million court case. $62 million court case. $64 million court case. $76 million court case. And $101 million court case. That's not paying for your legal expenses. That's literally just the settlement or what the jury decided was due the families of the employee that you just killed. That's where it's going to hurt. OSHA doesn't have to hit you with a sledgehammer because they know the court case is going to come in and do it. These were all fatalities in the 2000s. Let's take this situation right here. Looks like a pretty decent job site. We got us a little water cooler right there. We got us 3 of them actually. But is this compliant? Well, before we answer that question, we need to actually understand what the rules are. So let's read some of those. OSHA 1926 subpart D, sanitation. 51 Alpha 1, an adequate supply of potable water shall be provided in all places of employment. You have to provide water to your employees everywhere. Everywhere. Even if you're a mobile crew, you have to provide them with water. One of the ways you can do this is your foreman every morning can swing by and get a couple of cases of water depending on how many people you have. Or 51 Alpha 2. Portable containers used to dispense drinking water shall be capable of being tightly closed and equipped with a tap. Water shall not be dipped from containers. Yes, that means you can't open up the lid and dip your cup in to get ice. You got me? Because that's water. It's frozen water, but it's water. 51 Alpha 3. Any container used to distribute drinking water shall be clearly marked as to the nature of its contents and not used for any other purpose. And if we go back and we look at this picture, those don't look like they've been marked. Now granted, we can't see the other side, so maybe they are, but you better mark what's in those containers. 51 Alpha 4. The common drinking cup is prohibited. This covers two different situations. One, it covers me taking my cup, right? Getting me some water from the spigot, taking a drink, and then handing it over to Bubba. And then Bubba takes the cup and it does that. What it also prohibits is me taking my cup, filling it up, and then taking that same cup and sticking it under the spigot and getting the water from it. 51 Alpha 5, where single service cups to be used but once are supplied, both a sanitary container for the unused cups and a receptacle for disposing of the used cups shall be provided. Now, if we look over here, the best I can see is this box. When they say a sanitary container for unused cups, right there, they're talking about this. They're not talking about that little plastic bag that they came in, rolling around in your gang box, getting brown because it's gotten so much dirt on it. That's not sanitary. What they are talking about is a cleaned, and it stays clean, a clean container holding the cups. Now, the receptacle for disposing of the used cups, I have a hunch they're using this box right here, but do you think that's good enough? You think maybe we should put a trash can right next to it? 51 Alpha 6. Potable water means water that meets the standards for drinking purposes of the state or local authority having jurisdiction, or water that meets the quality standards prescribed in the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency's National Primary Drinking Water Regulations 40 Code of Federal Regulations Part 141. Yes, the EPA. The EPA regulates drinking water. So you need to understand that that's going to be, drinking water is to be free from biological contaminants. So when you take your cup and you've rubbed your herpes mouth all over that cup, because every time you take a drink, you're putting your herpes mouth on it, and then you put it up to that spigot, you've just contaminated the spigot. And now you're making everybody else get your herpes. And I don't want your herpes. And I don't think anybody else wants your herpes. So you're literally violating EPA. Stop it. Now, there are some situations where, as an employer, you have tons of water landed for your people. You're using bottled water. Again, but with bottled water, you have a lot of trash. So I understand that. If you're going to use the coolers to mitigate heat, great. But you need to be cleaning them out. You need to have a cleaning product that is rated for cleaning these coolers, right? I strongly recommend you tape the coolers down because, again, who's to say somebody didn't come and put something in that water? And it could have literally not been your fault, but now it's going to be your fault because somebody who was pissed off at the company or pissed off at the employees put something in that water, and you, as the employer who's providing water, have just contaminated your entire crew. Let's hope it's not deadly. So in order to prevent that, get this tamper tape. In the morning, have your employee clean it all out. They fill it up with water, put the tamper tape on there. You have your receptacle that holds single-service cups, and sitting right next to that is a trash can. That's your job. That 5-gallon water cooler is what, $20? Stack of cups is $8. That holder is $12. Trash cans $25 to $50 depending on the size you get. What is your expense here? The time of the employee cleaning it, cleaning agent's $5. The employee cleaning it takes 10-15 minutes to clean it. Or you can get bottled water. Or you can have a $100 million lawsuit from killing somebody and destroy a family's life. What are you doing? It's your job. As an employer in the United States, if you don't like it, move to a different country. There are hundreds of countries out there that don't care about the way that their workforce is treated. This is not one of them. If you're an employer in America and you have 10 employees, right? That's the magic number, is if you have 10 employees in one calendar year, OSHA applies to you. Now, there's a few places that other things apply to them, and okay, good to go. But I'm talking to the mass, to the majority. And to the majority, OSHA applies to you. Follow the rules. The sad thing is, that the rules had to be made because employers kept violating them. Is that what you want to be known for? Is treating your employees so badly? Big Brother had to step in and tell you, stop abusing your people. If you're an employee, drink water, take breaks often, pay attention to each other. Also, you should not be doing this the night before a work day, period. If you come to work and your supervisor suspects that you are not in the condition to work and sends you home and you start talking smack, you are just as bad as those evil companies. They don't care about you. They're going to treat you like a number. You are just as bad as those evil companies. Come to work ready to work, or don't come to work at all. Plain and simple. Call in. Sorry, I was out drinking too late last night. Working in the heat after you've been partying all night long. And trust me, this is me at the Jack Daniels Distillery in Lynchburg, Tennessee. I love Uncle Jack just as much as the next man, but I never do it the night before work. In fact, take care of yourself the night before. Start hydrating the night before. Pay attention to your pee. Bananas, pickle juice, cover up, shady hats, have a cool area nearby. Water, 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 water. We hope this message finds you well, and we hope you all stay safe.